Now, I'm sure we have all experienced a toxic Rocket League lobby in our lives before. I'm assuming. And if you haven't, I hope you do very soon. Now, I've seen a video recently of why Rocket League toxicity was actually ruining the game. And quite frankly, I'll give the guy credit, you know. He makes some pretty solid points in his video. But you know what? I'm here to argue that toxicity is actually building Rocket League. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons to why toxicity is actually better for Rocket League than it is worse. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of how toxicity is actually better for Rocket League than it is worse. Now, for beginners, what exactly do we consider a toxic player? Because we could argue that saying what a save or even spamming nice shot when you miss a shot could be toxic. But the type of toxicity I'm talking about is this. Now, I know, obviously, looking at that, you're going to be like, who in the right mind would say that to someone else? But from all my OG Rocket League players and the ones that have climbed up the ranks pretty far in and have played for a while, actually, have definitely experienced something like this. It's like when you get that one teammate, and then once you guys lose a game, he starts typing, "You suck," and then leaves the game automatically. And then out of just anger, you queue up again praying that you go up against that guy. Which leads me into reason number 1. It keeps players playing for the short run. I know every single player that plays Rocket League has some sort of anger issues. And one of those anger issues definitely comes when your teammate is toxic at the end of the match rather than the middle or beginning of the match. Now, I've never understood people that did this because me personally, if I think my teammate sucks, I'm gonna make sure he knows he sucks. Whether it's at the beginning of the match, whether it's at the middle of the match, or whether it's at the end of the match, he's gonna know it. But preferably, I say it when I see it. But in other people's minds, I guess they just think that they can say it at the end of the match and then like leave and then expect nothing in return. Like, why would you even say something if you don't want to exchange heat between? At least give me a chance to shoot something at you. I know you know what I'm trying to say because every single Rocket League player feels the exact same way. Now, reason number 2, it actually builds a stronger community. Hear me out on this one, all right? Let's say you're in a match, correct? And suddenly, boom, one of the guys starts being toxic to you. And you know what your response is? 1v1. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, maybe it's just me, but I'm the type of player, when there's 2 people in my lobby arguing against each other, I'm the type of guy that's like, invite me, let me spectate what's going on. Just because, like, I like to see who wins the beef. I like to see who comes out in the end, you know? And at the end of the day, when they both 1v1, they're toxic at the beginning, toxic towards the middle, and then they start making love to each other at the end. Like, what are you doing? All of a sudden, we're in a comp 3v3 going against Josh, Jacob, and Jordan. Like, the bipolarity the Rocket League community has is actually surreal. It kind of blows my mind, I'm not gonna lie to you. And it honestly surprises me, like, how could you have beef with someone 1 minute and then make out with him the next minute? Like, it's actually crazy. Now, coming more to my serious reason at number 3, it's the fact that toxic communities build more competitive games. Now, this one's a more serious one. Let's not use the example of Rocket League, but this one, just the overall aspect of any game that has toxicity. Let's use Call of Duty, for example. In any Call of Duty match, it gets as competitive as it can be. Everyone wants to win. And that's seen especially in Call of Duty esports when they're on the stage and they're competing against each other and they're yelling at each other every time they get a kill or something in like a death match. I don't even know. The same exactly goes for Rocket League. The more competitive players are, the more toxic the players are going to be because they just don't like losing. And taking their frustration out is the easiest way for them to cope with losing. Now, what does this do for the community exactly? Well, it makes the community way more competitive. Being toxic is like a drive, you know? It makes someone feel the need to win the game regardless of what happens. That's exactly how Rocket League players are, or players in any competitive game are. They look for a way to win, and if they can't win, they use you, the teammate, or the opponent to cope with it with their toxic actions. Now, sitting at number 4 is that toxicity can actually help you learn a lot of new things. If you're a victim of being toxicized to, I don't even know that's a word. Is that even a word? I don't even know. But you know what I mean. If you're a victim of that and it frustrated you and hurt you, you're going to dedicate a lot of your time to trying to get better and better and better than the person that was being toxic to you. And a lot of where toxicity starts, I'm pretty sure in Rocket League at least, it starts around like plat, I'd say, is where players start getting really toxic and it's no longer the what a saves, I'd assume. But that's what initiates that figure of trying to get better at the game. It makes you want to be better than the person next to you so that instead of someone being toxic to you, you could be toxic to someone if they're being bad and help the next person get better at the game and try and get better than you at least. And let's be honest, toxicity in general is what makes any game fun. It makes any game competitive. It makes any game have its players want to improve. And that's why no game takes drastic measures when it comes to toxicity. Now in Rocket League, if you're caught saying some wild stuff, like I've seen before, some wild stuff, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like if you're caught saying crazy stuff like that, you're gonna be hit with a 72-hour ban. But let's be honest, how many people that get a 72-hour ban come back and become become good little Rocket League puppets. None of them do. They all come back to the same exact toxic behavior they left off with. And that's also why most players up in like champ and above don't report you anymore, because they know that toxicity is just part of the game. It's part of the game. It's not something that's really controllable. It's just part of the game. Which leads me to reason number 5. And rather than this being an actual reason, this is more of like a question. Why would you not want to be toxic in Rocket League? Or in any game for any matter, why would you not want to be? It just doesn't make sense to me, because I feel like with any game, like I said before, toxicity is just a normal aspect or another figure of the game. It's almost like a mechanic, where instead of a mechanic, it's like a speaking mechanic. And it could even have some IQ to it too. Like, you know, hit it with like a nice little comeback, you know? Like it's just like a sick little thing, you know? Like imagine someone making your mom joke to you and then you hitting him with the nastiest comeback of your life. Like you're gonna feel like the shit after that, I'm not gonna lie to you. But I don't understand these like friendly communities or these players that want like a friendly community, because that's never going to happen. In any game that requires competition, you're never gonna see a friendly community. You're always gonna see toxic players everywhere in every corner you turn. And that's why you see most casual games not really played by so many players, because there's no like drive or competition to want to win. There's no hunger. You want that feeling of eagerness, that one like, I want to win. I want to win today. That's what you want. That's how you want to feel every time you queue up in a Rocket League match, queue up in a Call of Duty match, queue up in a Valorant match. That's how you want to feel. And so my question goes again, why would you not want to play in a toxic community? Now, of course, there's some people that are a little more sensitive than others and just can't handle stuff like that. I can understand those reasons. Those reasons are compelling and are very understandable to a certain degree. But the reality is toxicity will never go away in any competitive game. Whether you want it to, whether you don't want it to, it's impossible to erase players like that, because if you try to erase those players, you're practically erasing the entire community. You won't have a community filled with players anymore. You're going to be empty. And that concludes today's episode of why toxicity is actually better for Rocket League than it is worse. I hope you guys enjoyed. Before I forget, the winner of last week's giveaway will be in the description below. So if you won, DM me and I will get you your prize. Other than that, boys, it's been me and I'm out. I'll see you all next time.